We are with Representative Kirsten Harris-Talley from the 37th District. I want to talk to you about three of your bills. The first one is 1156, ranked choice voting. Give us an update on that one.
I am so proud of this bill and the work with advocates to bring this through a hearing in exec committee. Ranked choice voting is a voting equity bill that's looking at giving local elections options to our local election systems to have ranked choice as one of the voting options. For me, this is really about voting equity and representation. We've had the Washington Voting Rights Act on the books for a long time, and this will give some local tools to folks to see if having ranked choice voting actually increases representation in local elections.
Another one of your bills was just voted out of committee, 1331, equity and early learning. Is that right?
Yes. So this bill is addressing impact fees. So impact fees are fees that usually with new development or when you're expanding on building out a building or business, the local municipality or county assesses what's the impact of folks moving in and out of your business and can assess fees on top of that. For a long time, childcare centers have not had the same exemptions as retail and other centers around impact fees, and sometimes have had to pay up to 5 times higher impact fees. So for my neighbors in Seattle, they've never had to worry because we don't have impact fees. But for folks in Skyway, Renton, and other parts of King County and around the state, this has been a huge barrier to folks building new childcare facilities. So this is about having equity in those fees so we can make sure we have expansion of childcare when we know with the pandemic, families really need it. So I'm really excited.
Equity is a big value in the work that you're doing in the legislature. Another example of this is House Bill 1494, property tax equity. What does this do?
This is my bill I am most proud of. I have been an advocate in economic justice and equity for many years. And as folks know, Washington State, we have the most regressive tax system in the country. Our tax code is wholly upside down, which means low-income families pay almost 18% in taxes, while the richest among us pay only 3%, so 6 times as much as being paid by low-income and working families. One of the biggest places where we have an over responsibility in taxation is in property taxes. And for my neighbors in the 37th and so many neighbors throughout Washington State, what that means is that our primary residence where we live, we have been pushed out and actively displaced often by the tax responsibility of property taxes. So this bill 1494 would allow up to $250,000 property tax exemption. It's called the anti-displacement property tax exemption for primary residents, so that you could write off the state portion of your property taxes up to that amount. And what I love about it is that we're not going to move into a shift or forcing taxes on other levels of government. We would set up the Tax Justice and Equity Fund at the state level, which would be funded with state dollars, so that we would not have to worry about our commitment to public schools, which was really important to me, that as we're having equity and keeping folks in their homes, we're also keeping equity in our schools and keeping our public schools open. So this is a really important bill that's really about keeping folks safe and in our communities. And that's such a high priority for me, my family, and our neighbors.